Thomas and Friends was one of those shows that had great music, beautiful cinematography, and lots of moral lessons. But what really stands out for me is the characters. They may be different from each other, but they are all really useful. And they're all fan favorite of ours. So here are my top 10 favorite Thomas characters. In 10th place, I have two characters that may be a bit controversial to some. But anyways, in 10th place are Sir Topham Hatt. I used to hate him back then because he was so aggressive and he always had a habit of scolding the engines. But as I grew older, I got to understand why he was like that. Because the engines were like children and he was their father. But inside, he's a kind soul, and he can be a bit of a goofball at times. Paxton, the young diesel. Paxton is one of those diesels who you can really see as a role model of diesels, good or bad. Even though Paxton was on the wrong side of the sheds when it came to causing trouble with Diesel, but his kind, friendly, and generous soul makes up for it. Plus, I even love how he can be clumsy and have accidents for himself. I love how he considers steam engines his family. In 9th place, I have no other than Emily the Beautiful Engine. Emily is one of those female engines that clearly gives girls a good name. She is very positive, sweet, caring, and honest, even though she can be bossy and authoritative. But what I really love about Emily is that she's willing to come to the need of others who often misjudge her, especially the diesels. She often comes to Henry's rescue, Thomas's rescue, and even saves Caitlin from being out of control. She's a character that won't let you down and will always be there to give you a hand or wheel. 8th place might be shocking to you, but Cranky the Bugger Crane. I wasn't that fond of cranes because I was afraid of heights, but I started to appreciate their hard work of transporting loads into ships and trains. But I grew to understand Cranky more as a crane who is done with work and life. Boy, this guy does need a rest. I think Cranky is relatable because sometimes people have a hard time going to sleep or taking a vacation when it comes to taking on a difficult job. But Cranky does have some good moments in him. He was willing to help Thomas find Percy, and he also helped Salty out of danger and stopped a ship from being lost to the mainland. I really like Cranky as a character, and I really love how he can be grouchy but very friendly and firm with others if they misbehave. Way to be cranky, huh? Okay, prepare to squint a little, but in 7th place is the devil himself, or should I say, Diesel 10. When I was a kid, I used to be very frightened of Diesel 10. He was monstrous, mad, bloodthirsty, and his desire to destroy all steam engines was something that scarred me for life. But as I grew older, I got to see that Diesel 10 wasn't a bad sort of character. He may be threatening, especially to his other diesels, but inside, he has some layers to him. He can be very useful, especially with his claw. Pinchy, come and get these trucks for me. Ow, Pinchy, I hate it when you do that. And Diesel 10 is kind of funny too, when he tries to be threatening, but sometimes has his plans backfire. Kind of like Dick Dastardly, wouldn't you say? Sixth place will make you cry, but in this role is Henry the Gentle Giant. Henry is one of those characters who you really feel bad for in the beginning, but now root for him even more. When I was a kid, I really loved Henry. I had a wooden railway and a take-along model of him. I loved how he was big, strong, friendly, and mostly because he was green. It's my favorite color. But I love Henry because he is mostly gentle, honest, and sometimes very selfless. And even though he can be a bit of a warrior at times, he is still very thoughtful and honest in his opinion. And I really love his crashes most of the time. Henry is an incredible character to be admired. Well done, Henry. In fifth place, prepare to rock and roll. But we have Dunkin' Donuts. I'm just messing with y'all. But they certainly are delicious. Dunkin'. Seriously, I love how this guy sounds. I'm a plain blunt engine and I speak as I may. Tunnels should be tunnels and not rabbit holes. Seriously, who would have thought a Scottish narrow gauge engine would work in this show? While Duncan can be a bit of a nuisance with his habit of grumbling all the time, he does have some good qualities to him, like he's willing to listen to Mr. Percival's advice to be a really useful engine, offering to give Skarloey and Rusty a hand, and he often does most of his jobs without complaining. He even was willing to help Luke up the hill without grumbling once or twice. Oh, and Duncan's episodes, especially Duncan Gets Spooked, Duncan, and the Runaway Elephant, are very humorous in their own way. That is why I really enjoy Duncan as a character. It goes to show you that there are some people who are cold, grumpy, and cynical. They do at times have a good heart and can let you see on the bright side a little. And that is what Duncan is, mostly. In fourth place, we have no one other than a really useful and very cheeky engine indeed. Here is no other than Thomas the Tank Engine himself. Thomas, of course, is a really useful engine, even though he can be cheeky and a bit out of hand sometimes. But what makes Thomas a very, very great character to me is that they make him the star himself. He proves to the others that despite being little, he can still do good things. And I love his honesty with the Sir Topham Hatt, his friendship with Percy, and his willingness to accept diesels. Also, I love how he stands up to Gordon and James, when he simply returns the favor, giving them their comeuppance, or simply making amends with them when he has an accident of his own. I love his crashes, especially the special letter, and love how he matures in season 5. Even his films where he stands up, where he stars, are very, very special to me. Now, Thomas might be a spoiled teenager who wants to make a difference and see the world. But inside, he has a heart to him and tells us that people out there can be good and be given a second chance. Thomas is one of those positive role models that tell us to keep trying no matter what happens and be really useful. Thomas, we love you. Hold on to your fishing trousers, because in third place we have Salty. Salty is one of those characters that can make you chuckle and lend a listening ear to one of his stories. Who would have thought to come up with a creative concept of a dockside diesel in real life? I love how Salty, despite his small size and ugly design, he's still determined to get the job done and keep us entertained with the sea shanty and one of his amazing stories of the sea. And when he's far away from the sea and when he mopes about it, you really feel bad for him. In the end, when others look down on him, he doesn't give a toss of what others think. He just simply roasts them back or gives a compliment, "A good day to you too, Captain." Plus, I really love his bromance with Cranky. Cranky can be grumpy, but Salty can make him look on the bright side. And while the others might be annoyed of his stories, Salty is keen to make them look on the bright side and be happy. And that's why I think this hardworking Sea Scurvy Diesel is a standout to the others. Salty, tell us another one. Second place, we have Percy. Anybody? Percy, in my opinion, is a very endearing character. He's not just a straight up brain caught in a twist boy who wants to be looked up to. He's more than that. He is a very sweet and kind and really thoughtful engine. Percy really stands out from any of the other steam engines. In most of his episodes, I like how he learns to take a stand and stand up to the bigger engines who mock him, especially Gordon, James, Ari, and Bert, and of course Harold. But what I really love about Percy is that he's willing to be brave enough to get him out of a dangerous situation, including a landslide, a collapsing mine, and saving a runaway train from crashing into the other station. Percy is such a brave and breathtaking character that you really look up to. Even if he's a little engine like Thomas, he can still have a big heart and put the other engines into place. We're counting on you. And this one may be a little debatable and controversial, but I just want you all to please respect that opinion. Because in first place, we have an engine no other than Rusty. Yes, I know what you're all thinking. You're like, R. Gilliard, why would you put this smelly diesel in front of everybody else, Scarlowe and Duncan included? Yes, I know you're all lashing out at me, but here, let me explain my reason. When I was a kid, I believed Rusty was a steam engine, considering how he was very rusty, and that steam engines were as well. Plus, that radiator on top looks like a funnel to me. But as I grew older, I grew to understand him more and see that he is a diesel, but a friendly one, a brave one too. Plus, he even looks cute, by the way. But that's not why I love him. Rusty breaks the stereotype of all diesels being bad. Whilst he is technically a maintenance diesel, Rusty more than makes up for it with his bravery, determination, and kindness when he helps Peter Sam out of a wreckage and helps Duncan out of a derailment and a collapsing bridge, of course. But what makes me love Rusty so much, and in his first standout episode, Rusty to the Rescue, he does something that no one has ever thought. Britt Allcroft wrote an episode based on him saving a fellow steam engine from scrap. Take the twist around, a steam engine saving another steam engine from scrap, with a diesel saving a steam engine from scrap. Now that is a good way to break stereotypical nonsense. Rusty is also the first diesel to show that diesels are more than what people think of them. Plus, his dynamic with Duncan is hilarious and entertaining. Rusty, we all love you, even though people find you, That's all I had planned, folks. If you all have a favorite Thomas character, be sure to leave it in the comment. Or subscribe when you like.